YouTube, they did it again. The officials strike again, folks. Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Remember that day. That is the day where the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks faced off against each other, and a record low 2 total free throws were shot on Tuesday night.
What the hell is even that?
It is by far the lowest total amount of free throws that two teams have shot in a NBA game ever. The next closest was 11, and the Boston Celtics actually shot 0 free throws, which is also a record. That's never happened before in the NBA. How is any of this possible? That's what I want to talk about in this video. Let's get right into it, folks. If you guys have been following my channel the last couple weeks, we actually made a video titled "Are NBA Referees Betting on Games?" If you haven't watched it, make sure you guys check it out. And in that video, I kind of ranted and laid out the inconsistencies that I'm seeing this season amongst the NBA and the officiating problem that's taken place in 2024, with so many games being completely derailed by blatant missed calls, no calls, and it's costing a lot of NBA teams games, and it's costing a lot of players and coaches hard-earned salary, because if the NBA players and coaches speak out against it and criticize the officiating, they get fined $50,000. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been watching the NBA for long enough to be able to realize that 2 free throws in an NBA game between 2 elite teams is not something you would think is even conceivable. It's something of a fairy tale, you'd say. And how could that even happen, right? Like, how could there be 2 total free throws in an entire NBA game? Because I actually don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know down in the comment section, because I'm struggling here to come up with something for this video. Now, the referees will say, and people that watch the game will say, oh, they just, they were letting them play that night. They were okay with the physicality. And that particular game, the refs decided to let a lot of things go. And that's just how that game was officiated, right? But that's actually a problem I have with the officiating in the NBA lately, is that from game to game, it's so inconsistent how they're going to call each game. Like, that's not a problem I see in a lot of other sports. I mean, generally, there's some things that change from game to game in football and baseball, right? In baseball, you have a particular umpire who is going to call things down in the zone, a strike one game and maybe not the next game. That's, sure, I'll grant you that. In football, maybe there's a little more physicality let go from game to game. I'll give you that, right? But it's pretty minor, I'd say, and you kind of know what to expect and what rules will be enforced from game to game. The NBA, it is so vague and so completely unpredictable that it's just mind-blowing to me how these players are supposed to basically have a different set of rules being enforced from game to game and expected to play consistent basketball. Like, we have a rule book for a reason, right? The rules say certain things about what is a foul, what isn't a foul, right? Why on some games do they say, oh, we're not going to call that tonight, we're going to let that go, right? That's insane to me. That's clearly a major adjustment players and coaches are going to have to make from game to game, mid-game, right? Like, I think that's insane how we have all these rules, but we pick and choose when to enforce them on certain players and in certain games that mean different things for standings and playoff spots. And let's just break it down really, really simple. The referees, in one way or another, are basically there to make sure the game is fair for everyone, right? They're there to make sure both teams have a fair shot if people break the rules in game, right? Like, that's what fouls are called for, to keep the game fair for both teams, right? How is it fair if one game this is a foul and one game it isn't? I don't understand that, and I never will, because what is the reason for the inconsistency? I don't even understand. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, folks. I apologize. I'm going to try to keep this a little more structured. This is more of a rant style video. I didn't script any of this, but I had to talk about this today because we were just talking about last week about how the officiating is so blatantly inconsistent this season compared to years past, and refs are getting away with it. Not only are they getting away with it, they're basically above criticism and questioning from the players and coaches somehow, which leads to a lot of speculation about betting and, corruption in the officiating. And, does the NBA know about it? There's all kinds of questions that can come out of a situation like this. And this is a prime example, right? If I'm a ref and I want to, let's say, slide the outcome of a game into a certain direction, which, let's be honest, we all know why they would be doing that. I don't have to say that. If I wanted to slide a game in a certain direction for one particular team and one particular play style, maybe this team does better when they get more free throws, whatever. If I want to slide the outcome of a game into a certain direction for a certain team with a certain score in mind, right? I think we can all picture what I'm talking about here. And it's not fairness and enforcing rules strictly in an NBA game. There are many ways I would be able to do that as a referee, right? Wouldn't one of them be enforcing different sets of rules on different nights with different teams? Of course it would. If you make the rules vague and unpredictable from game to game and not know what the refs are going to be like tonight or any given night, that can seriously sway the outcome of a game into a certain favor of a certain team, like I said, which begs the question, question. Why would the referees not be consistent and enforce certain rules all the time? If you watch a full basketball game at any level, there is no shot, no chance that there's only one shooting foul in an entire game, right? Especially when you have players like Giannis and Tatum, guys that get inside the paint and are just stronger and more skilled than everyone else. They're going to get fouled multiple times a game, get sent to the line multiple times a game, right? This is not some outlier game where there was just only one shooting foul. How did these teams not get into the bonus and get to the line that way? Like, that happens every single game, it feels like. You cannot convince me that this is something that just naturally, organically happened, that Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all these elite NBA talents only got fouled while shooting one time combined, right? I just don't buy it. It feels like there's some kind of agenda, and I know feels is a word that people don't like to use when making an argument because it's not based in fact, but just pay attention, observe what's going on in the NBA right now. It'll lead you to a certain place that will maybe think, okay, maybe there's something going on here that isn't just about enforcing fairness across each game in terms of enforcing rules by the officials. It's not possible that there's only 2 free throws in an NBA game, right? And again, I don't know what the motive would be other than betting, but like the fact that I even have to wonder is a real issue for me. Like, why in the NBA specifically are the rules so vague and inconsistent and varied game to game on what they're going to call that game and what they're not going to call? I've seen so many games this year watching across the NBA where some nights the 3-second violation on defense will be called every time. Like, they're counting that to the millisecond in terms of if you spend 3 seconds in the paint, it is a technical free throw because that's a rule in the rule book that you can't stand in the paint without guarding somebody for 3 straight seconds, right? But some nights they'll just let it go. I've seen plenty of games where that call isn't enforced throughout an entire NBA game, right? And it happens all the time. People just get away with it because certain nights the officials don't care about that and they're not looking for it and they're going to let it go. I think personally, and this is just me, it's easier said than done. I get that, right? And a lot of the officials, I'm sure they're doing their best and they're good, honest people who are trying to make a living, whatever. I personally think you make a rule book, and if you see that rule violated, you blow the whistle and you make the call that that's in violation of the rules. That's just basic common sense. That's how it should work. The problem is a lot of the rules in the NBA rulebook are extremely vague and not super specific on what that could look like in any given situation. So that leaves a lot of room for the NBA referees to speculate and have their own personal interpretation of what that rule means and how it should be enforced and how the game should be played night to night, which is a real problem, I think. If you're leaving rules up for interpretation most of the time, I think, of course, there's going to be so many variables and inconsistencies in what you're seeing from the referees game to game in terms of what they'll call and what they won't. So this is an issue I think most people would agree with as NBA fans. The officiating is way too inconsistent night to night, and you're seeing it with games like Boston and Milwaukee on Tuesday night, April 9th, 2024, where there were 2 total free throws shot and Boston lost. And listen, anytime the Boston Celtics lose, I'm a happy guy because I'm a Sixers fan and the Celtics are my least favorite team of any sport ever. So Celtics losing is my ideal outcome, but I want it to be fair and square, whatever team it is, because losing to the officials is something we can all feel for as NBA fans. It's happened to all of us. All of our teams have been robbed by the officials one way or another at some point during our fandom, and it sucks feeling that, right? Because I think, like I said, as an NBA fan and a basketball fan in general, I want healthy competition. I want my team to beat the other team fair and square, fully healthy, well officiated, because that proves we're the better team, right? Like, that's what we want. We want our teams to be the best, and if we have the officials on our side that game, that's not exactly what that is. So it's no fun if you don't win fair and square. Cheating or being on the receiving end of another team getting cheated is not necessarily a great feeling as an NBA fan. Like, if my Sixers are playing the Celtics and the referees are clearly on our side that game and we win that way, that doesn't feel good to me. I don't want that. I want us to win because we're better than them. That's way more fun, right? Anyways, like I said, no script for this video. I'm going off on a tangent. I apologize, but I'm upset about this because even though it is the Celtics, I will always advocate for well-managed, well-officiated NBA games. That's how it should be, point blank, period. Obviously, like I said in the last video, the refs are human. They're doing their best. I think most of them are doing their best and they're just trying to, honestly enforce the NBA rules. But there are a few that you just got to question, man, because regardless of who you root for as an NBA fan, what team you're a fan of, whatever, what players you don't like, 2 free throws is absolutely something that just isn't possible in a basketball game. I've never seen it. I don't think a lot of you guys have either. It's extremely suspicious and it's extremely upsetting to see things like that, where it kind of can take the fun out of being a fan sometimes, because you're seeing a lot of these games where, okay, well, the refs feel like they're against us tonight, or the refs feel like, oh, we're only going to call these 3 specific things consistently. If anything else happens, we're just going to let it go, right? And then players notice that, they take advantage of it because they're supposed to, but it's extremely annoying when you have these set of rules and they're only being enforced in certain games consistently consistently, right? Make the rules, enforce them when you see them being broken. Again, I understand there's going to be exceptions. There's going to be times where people miss it. There's going to be mistakes. They happen, right? These people are human. They're not robots. They can't be perfect. I have said that a million times, and I truly believe that. But there are certain times where it's blatant, and just throughout an entire game, they're just not going to call certain things. I think that's weird because not only is it suspicious about what the referee's motives are that game, and, you know, are they instructed by the league to do that, but it's also extremely annoying as a fan. It's like, that's a foul. That's clearly a foul. I've watched basketball before. Call the foul, right? No, tonight they're just not doing it. It's mind-blowing to me, and I just don't understand it. And maybe you guys can let me know down in the comment section what you think about this, because if you guys are Celtics fans or Bucks fans, what do you think about that game? How is it even possible or explainable or justifiable that the referees can just not call more than one shooting foul in an entire NBA game and send Giannis to the line once? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And again, I know I'm probably all over the place and all off the rails. I'm probably not explaining this very well to you guys, but I'm trying my best. I wanted to make this video less structured and less scripted because I genuinely feel strongly about a lot of this stuff, and I feel like scripting it would kind of take the punch out of it. So that's it for the video. Hopefully I don't have to talk about anything like this again throughout the playoffs, but I will if I see it come up, you know. So like I said, if you guys haven't seen that NBA refs are betting on games video, make sure you guys check that out. Maybe I'll leave the link in the description, so maybe check for that. And hopefully you're not a Celtics or Bucks fan, because I would be absolutely fuming if that was my team, especially the Celtics. They lost that game. Make sure you guys drop a like on the video if you guys did enjoy it. Really helps out the video, helps new people find the video and the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Really mean a lot to me. We're trying to grow every single day. Basically what we do on this channel, we upload almost every single day. We're gonna be uploading pretty much every day throughout the playoffs, and I'm gonna be making a lot of playoff related content, news, stories, drama, things like this, rants if need be, hopefully not need be, but I'm really just a passionate NBA fan. I just love basketball at the end of the day. Love talking about it with you guys, and I love engaging with you guys in the comments. So make sure you guys drop a comment if you have anything to say about this topic. Anyways, we'll get back to the playoff stuff after this video. I just want to make it real quick, and hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your day today, and hopefully your favorite team wins their next game, and hopefully the referees don't cost your team a game by only enforcing certain rules that night that they feel need to be enforced. I will catch you guys in the next one. It's your boy D Haven, as always. Peace.